This is the Alternative Investing Advantage podcast from Advanta IRA, where we show you how to explore investments beyond Wall Street and open your eyes to new options for your portfolio. It's time to take control and give yourself the freedom to choose where you invest your money.
Welcome to another edition of the Alternative Investing Advantage podcast. My name is Alex Perny. Thank you very much for being on with us today. Today, we are very pleased to welcome on Mark Newsome, who is a small business marketing consultant, to go through some of the alternative ways that people that are either self-employed, sole proprietors, single member LLCs, kind of the mom and pop shops of people in the business world, how you can better market and position yourselves, because we do deal with a lot of small business owners in the retirement planning side of things we do outside of IRAs. And the biggest part of how you can increase revenues to have money to put into a retirement plan is getting your product or service out there. So how do you get people to know you? How do you get people to engage? And we're really happy to have Mark on with us today. So Mark, give us a little bit about yourself. Tell us kind of how you became to get plugged in with what you're doing now, because a lot of people have a few different cracks at their profession before they finally figure out what sticks. So again, thank you very much for being on with us today, and give us a little bit of background about yourself.
First of all, Alex, it's my honor and pleasure, man. Thank you so much for inviting me. It's an honor to be here. But to answer your question very simply, I started out in a niche area of real estate financing. The slang street term is paper, which is just slang for debt. And it's when somebody sells a property, be it commercial, land, or residential, and they participate in the financing. They would take back what we call a privately held note, mortgage, trust deed, depending on what part of the country in America you're in. And some people found out that they didn't just want to get those periodic payments, they wanted cash. So what I would do is, I was in reality a bird dog. I didn't actually have the company that had all the money, but I could lead generate for them and be paid what's called a referrals fee. So the short of it is, when I got into that industry, which is, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, some of you know that are in real estate, or if you've ever financed a business or bought a business or a piece of property using owner financing, this is a multi-billion-dollar annual a year business, industry. But the challenge with it is, Alex, a good friend of mine named Bill told me, after I learned about direct response marketing strategies and techniques from some of the legends like Dan Kennedy and Jay Abraham and the late great copywriting guru Gary Halbert and these other people. Once I learned how to do that kind of direct response type marketing, which we're going to get into, a good friend of mine named Bill said, listen, man, I know you think this financing this paper and cashing these people out is a big deal. He said, but Mark, listen, the small business owners, service providers, and entrepreneurs, they could really use your help too. And at the time, I was oblivious to it. It hadn't even occurred to me. And as I started to investigate, just shopping in my local area, I realized this guy's spot on. These businesses, these owners, Alex, they're working, as you well know, working incredibly hard. They're incredibly dedicated. They're laser focused. The problem is, a lot of the so-called marketing strategies, promotional strategies, and even traditional advertising that they're doing, it was so archaic. It's ridiculous. They're barely getting one-to-one return on their money. They're getting no leverage, basically. So I about 25 years ago, my friend, I morphed into that industry. I started writing articles about it, getting these articles published in these big time newsletters that put on these annual conventions. I started to get invited to these big conferences to speak. And before I knew it, I developed this moniker, Mr. Marketing. I fully fledged transitioned to this. And then the greatest single, most powerful marketing instrument ever known to mankind came about, called the internet. And I haven't looked back since, my friend.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, definitely interested to kind of delve into that more. But it's interesting that you did come from the real estate side. I mean, here at Advanta, for doing alternative assets and retirement plans, I'd say we probably hold for clients $300 million worth of paper.
Wow.
It's a big chunk of our asset under administration for our clients. A lot of clients, for their retirement plans, really enjoy debt for the fact that you have less life. When someone trips and falls and breaks their neck in a property, God forbid, they don't trip over the mortgage note. They trip over that floorboard the landlord didn't repair. So
I have to remember that. That's good.
The debt side of things is attractive to a lot of our clients. So it's interesting that you would come from kind of a very analogous industry to what a ton of our clients are invested in on the professional side of what we do. So
Awesome.
it's very interesting that you kind of saw that opportunity in one industry to kind of branch out on your own and help people with what they're doing. It's always cool to talk to people that start in one trajectory and then find an avenue that works much better for them than just what they were doing before. So thank you very
Absolutely.
much for being on with us today. And
My
you kind
pleasure.
of mentioned I don't necessarily know where to start with this, which is kind of a first for me. When we talk about so much of what I do, for the past what I've done my entire career since I got out of college, minus the few jobs I just had to pay the bills before I landed where I'm at
Right?
professionally, has been in finance and investments. So the marketing side of things and the development of growing businesses is something that I am as as green as a plant leaf on. So if I were saying starting a business. Doing selling widgets, and I'm sitting here going, you know what? I don't know how to market myself. You mentioned something called direct response marketing. I'm sure there's a bunch of other things that we'll get into today. Where would you start? From a very baseline perspective, for someone either brand new or struggling to find out what sticks, what would be that initial conversation you have with someone?
Excellent question. I want you to do me a favor, Alex. I'm gonna have you wear many hats in our short time together. Let's suppose that you are a brand new retail jeweler. Okay, you got the
Okay.
bucks, you got the inventory. Everybody, especially the local ladies, love your bling. And as you start to look into the traditional advertising uh, methods that are available to you, man, you see you got to write some monster checks. I mean, if you're talking local billboards in a rural area, you might be talking $25,000 a month up front, and you got to prepay 3 to 6 months. So, you, ladies and gentlemen, you do the math. If you're in a major metropolis, you could be talking about anywhere from 50 to 150K per month. Do the math on that. And again, you got to prepay. Here's the other thing about advertising. And I hate saying this, Alex, but it's true. Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, the time you invest today with Alex and myself and listening to the other episodes in his fabulous podcast, a local business owner, a provider, pardon me, or an inspiring entrepreneur, they paid for a local ad on the radio or the TV. And guess what? You and I didn't see it, but they got charged anyway. You see the problem with traditional advertising? It's outrageously
Yeah.
expensive. It's hit and miss at best. In fact, I like to, ladies, for the ladies amongst us, don't take this the wrong way, but seriously, think about what I'm about to tell you. If you convince an entrepreneur to pay $40,000 for a billboard, and, depending on how many people walk, drive, pass it on a bike, and Uber in their car, whatever, we're passing by this thing between 40 and 60 miles an hour. And the only way you're going to get Alex and Mai's attention, you got to have that smoking hot car with that smoking hot babe leaned up against it in a bathing suit. Otherwise, we're not going to notice. And that's just a sad reality. Meanwhile, how much did that thing, I call them alligators, Alex, how much did that thing cost you? Because it's just eating money. Now follow this. Instead of Alex doing that, what if he does this? He's in a mini strip mall that has 7 commercial spaces. 2 have been vacant for the last 18 months. Even prior to COVID, they were having trouble filling them. And then COVID hit, boom. So you got 5 viable business. Alex is one of them. And we're going to say that my gourmet coffee shop is one of them. And 2 doors down, 2 suites down, is a popular women's hair salon. And now, Alex, are you married?
I am happily for 10
Okay.
years.
Happily married. So let's say his wife is one of the main customers of this hair salon. So you know what Alex does? He tells his wife, of course, he hooked his wife up now, right? She's got some rocking, a $2,000 necklace and some earrings. He sends her in there one day with this bling. Now, they don't have to know that Alex is just giving this to her temporarily on loan. She walks in, sits in that chair. She's really cool with the owner. And at some point after they talk about everything else, the kids and vacation and the grandparents and this, that, and the other, the conversation is going to turn to, girl, where did you get that awesome looking bling? And she's going to say, you know what? I'm so glad you asked, because my husband, I got to be honest with you, he sent me in here to ask you something. She said, what? She pulls out 2 pictures on her phone, Alex. She says, he said to ask you of these two diamond-studded necklaces that both retail for $2,500, if you could get either one at cost, which one would you like? And she says, are you serious? I like number A. Alex tells his wife, he says, if you come by yourself, he'll give it to you at 10% off, simply for dragging a friend who's at least 18, preferably a female. He'll give you not only that at cost, but for dragging the friend, he'll give you some $650 diamond-studded earrings. His cost is $300, and he'll give your friend a $450 pair at his cost, provided she joins his email list before they leave the store. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you see the leverage right there. Number one, Alex has got not only his wife, he's got his hairdresser. You know, all the women in the shop who the stylists, they're going to want in on it. And he got the owner to drag a friend. I want you to show me any billboard ad, any local ad you can do that with consistently, Alex, with one shot. Because everybody knows Alex can't run one primetime radio ad, can he? Can he run one primetime television ad? One primetime local ad? If he does, he may as well just take his money out, put lighter fluid up, and burn it. It's a complete waste of time. Yeah. On the other hand, stop and think about what just happened. The wife, and Alex, we say this, it's 25 and 30. What's that, Mark? Every local woman knows at least 25 other local women, and 30% of those women are primed to become his or his competitors' customers in the next 30 days or less. Pardon me. So here's what Alex does. He knows leverage. That's what investing is all about, right, Alex? Leverage. He says, tell your stylist, same deal. They bring this card in, he dates it, he gives them a 5-day window, and not 5 business days, ladies and gentlemen, 5 days from the day he hands it out. They got 5 days to come to the store. They come by themselves, 10% off up to the first $200. Not incredibly sexy. It's not supposed to be. Simply for dragging a friend, they get up to 40% off up to $2,000, provided they join his list. And guess what his list is, ladies and gentlemen? We're going to talk email later on, but here's the point about the list. On the front of this card, this is not your standard type business card. No, this is what we call direct response, and I'll get into that in just a second. The front side of Alex's card invites the recipient, be it man or woman, to enter his free monthly drawing for a chance. The gentleman win a $2,500 Rolex, very stylish, and the ladies win a $2,500 diamond-studded necklace. Now remember, his hard cost is about half or less. That's his average. That's the equivalent of him playing for a local ad, which some people throw it away, or they use it, to line the bird cage, right? We've all done it. What good is a 3-day-old newspaper that you haven't opened? And Alex had a 1-day sale in the first day. Think about it. Right now, somebody's running a local TV, a local radio ad, and we're here studying together. What did those entrepreneurs get out of it? Nada. But it still came out of their bank account. This way here, Alex is paying for like a pay-per-click ad, pay-per-click. He pays for results. He invests in results. So the point being, those stylists bring a friend. They get the discount. If the friend joins their list before they leave the store, that's called scarcity. They get an ethical bribe. But more importantly, going forward, every time a female sits in that chair, a certain percentage of them are going to ask, well, you didn't have it yesterday when I came in here or last week. Where'd you get that bling? In which case they're going to date the card, hand it to them, and tell them the same spiel. Hey, you can enter his free drawing for a chance to win $2,500 diamond-studded necklace. There's two guaranteed winners every month, a man and a woman. And B, the flip side, you drag a friend, you come along, 10% off up to $200. Something low, so it's not very sexy. Simply for dragging a friend who's at least 18, preferably a female, it's 40% off up to $2,000. And the friend, provided they join the list before they leave the store, $1,500, and they save 40% up to $1,000, or $200, 10% off if they don't want to join the list. No pressure. That's what we mean by direct response and lead generation. See, direct response ads are accountable. They say do this by a certain time and you'll get that. You look at the advertising you see on TV with the pizza places and all this other stuff, they just throw their website out and they put a catchy slogan. And they have to run it enough times to you or your kids memorize the slogan. You count up the money, ladies and gentlemen, you'll go broke as a small business owner or service provider trying to operate your business that way. You can't. You got to have pockets so deep, it's pathetic. Do not go there.
So I think kind of what the Germaine point is that, repositioning marketing dollars from, the more traditional stuff. You're talking, hard print, point advertising, think billboards, benches, things like that, into more of a utilization of your marketing dollars towards, incentive to use the actual product or service. And,
absolutely.
I think, retail, it's an easy enough, aspect to understand in the retail space. If, you have a certain product, you want to place that in front of your customer, whoever that might be, whatever that avatar might look like, the amount that you might pay for, the appreciable cost that you have to eat on a discount below cost, it's just repositioning that into your marketing, your marketing, I hate to use the word scheme, but marketing strategy.
I was going to say strategy.
Marketing strategy in order to, help generate not only lead capture by people that might also come in as a aside to the person that might actually be purchasing it, but also, now you have a customer, you have someone that's actually, purchased or, utilized the service or good that you're actually putting out there. So,
absolutely.
it's, I think using the analogy of, retail is good, but how does that extrapolate to, let's say, a business is selling a service? Let's say someone that is, again, on a little bit bigger scale, how would you implement this on something like, let's say, someone that's, running a lawn care business, or something like that, where it's, a little bit harder to, it's not something that you can bring someone in, again, to wear something, a piece of jewelry, or, if you're making t-shirts or shoes or something, something that's a little bit more of a hard target on, it's hard to get out and again, using the example of a lawn care service, it's kind of hard to go out and put a bunch of people in a van and drive by a house and say, look at that yard, it looks really, looks like it's being cooked really well. So, how would that kind of, play into things that aren't, that can't be worn, that are more of like a point service type product?
Well, I'm glad you asked, and if you notice, that's why I specifically used an example of a hair salon or a nail salon provider, because these are service people. See, if I'm the jeweler, I'm going to use your example, but first I just want to swing back so people can understand this, because just what he's pointing out, ladies and gentlemen, is the reason why guys like me and women in this industry can be so helpful, because most people think linear. In other words, if they hear 8 plus 2, they don't realize 7 plus 3, 6 plus 4, 5 plus 5, 9 plus 1, 12 minus 2, mathematically all equals 10. Does it not? So let's use the service provider angle. First of all, to tie this all together with the hair salon, excuse me, remember, the hair salon has costs too. So if I'm the jeweler and I know ladies and gentlemen, when you're off of this podcast, I want you to immediately go to YouTube and put in total lifetime customer value. Watch 1 or 2 videos, you'll have the concept down. See, because Alex knows what his ideal total customer, his avatars, ideal avatars, total lifetime customer value is. He knows exactly what he can afford to invest to generate that all important first time client, which means he can easily show that hair salon, hey, I'll pay the hard cost for you to give away 500 either at cost or free trims and washes, because you're also going to give them on the back end my card to get them into my shop. But let's use his exact example more to home, this lawn care service. Okay, well, how would this work? Well, if I'm the lawn care guy or gal, I'm looking for what we call strategic partners. What is that, Mark? You guys understand leverage, right? You're investors. You understand leverage. Okay. Is it not leverage for me as the lawn care provider to find an individual or individuals, even better, in the community who need my exact same customer, in this case, a homeowner or a property owner. As the jeweler, he can invest by saying, hey, I'll pay the hard cost for you to give a free drawing to give away I don't know what it costs. You got to forgive me, $1,000 worth of lawn care services. That should be enough of an incentive to build your list. You're only going to have one grand prize winner, correct? But what if you get 600 people to enter your drawing? What do the other 599 get, you suspect? A, an extremely time-sensitive discount coupon to take advantage of my services. And B, if they do take advantage of my services, on the back end, I may have a furniture concern. I may have his retail jewelry store. I'll have as many entrepreneurs as I can get over time so that I have a package. Hey, you take advantage of this and you get this, this, and this. My competitors aren't smart enough to know how to do this yet. They're just trying to sell lawn care services. I'm a marketer. I'm a business person. I realize that that lead may only be worth X to me, but to a guy like Alex who's got a furniture store, in fact, 2 locations locally, that lead could easily be worth $15,000 to $30,000 over a 5 to 7 year period. Why? Because he's going to get repeat business, is he not? He's going to get referrals, is he not? He's going to get testimonials. So when he adds up all that value, he says, you know, it makes sense for me to fund this guy's lawn care service by paying his hard costs so I can get access to that lead. He'd rather pay me a $200 referral fee than spend $1,200 to get that person to come in the store on radio. So that's
that definitely makes sense. So, go ahead.
No, all I was going to say is, don't think linear, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, I know now. Alex, the name of his investment firm is the Alternatives, right? You don't have to just do A, B, and C. There's other options. It's the same with marketing, promoting, and in fact, with traditional advertising. Ladies and gentlemen, please understand this. Don't ever forget this. Let me say 2 things, Alex. One, I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but if I don't say this, I'm going to be remiss. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're an entrepreneur, you should be rocking social media. I'm rocking social media. Alex, you guys are rocking social media, aren't you?
Oh, yeah.
Of course. Please don't ever forget this. You and I are the tenants on social media platforms. The Mark Zuckerbergs, the Reid Hoffmans of LinkedIn, they're the landlords. They can pull the plug anytime they want for whatever reason you want. You violate some terms of service, you don't even know, you realize you did it. And your account gets pulled. In fact, how many times have you heard, I know I have when I'm on these paid and private webinars, Alex, the guru or guruette will admit there are 575,000 Twitter followers, or I guess X now, they're gone. The 375,000 followers on Instagram, gone. Because they or Facebook, they violate, or what is it, Meta, they violated some terms of agreement. It's like, I like to say it like this, Alex, it's like sleeping on the couch of your ex-in-law. One day, just out of the blue, they come home and say, hey, listen, I'm sorry, you got to go. Where's it leave you? Homeless. What's the alternative? You need your own house. You need to be building your own opt-in email list, whether you're online or not. Now, I know that sounds weird to you to say, well, wait a minute, if I don't have a website, how do I use email? You don't need a website to use email. We're getting too technical. I don't want to get, but you can do it. In fact, if you got any questions, you reach out to me after this. I'll be glad to talk to you for 15 minutes about it. But closer to home, the point I'm trying to make, Alex, again, we're talking alternatives here, ladies and gentlemen. The point I'm trying to make is do not rely on social media. Leverage it, but don't ever forget your Titanic will sink if you try to rely solely on it. This is very dangerous.
There's definitely a few issues to kind of bring up with that. And I think social media can kind of be a whole aspect of what we talk about here in a minute. But the kind of the point I'm taking away from what you're saying, at least on the direct response marketing and kind of utilizing your dollars in the, away from the traditional aspects to more of the, okay, if I'm going to, maybe, give something away. I mean, you are giving something away, but, you're capturing, something like leads or additional, marketing resources. So you're getting something for your dollar spent. But what you're really kind of looking at, in the sense of, again, looking at the jewelry store versus the the lawn care business, is the, I think the difficulty is, and obviously some industries are going to be easier than others, but identifying that kind of tertiary market that can refer into you. So for the for jewelry, hair salon, or maybe an event space, or places where high percentages of values are put on jewelry. But for the lawn care service, it's going to be things like your real estate investors, your real estate agents, people like roofers or flooring people, people that go to houses a lot and see hey, this place is overgrown, or X, Y, and Z. People that are actually going to be able to get to the person that can make that decision, and kind of aligning them with what you're doing to say, hey, look, I'll pay a referral fee if you can, let me know of this homeowner, or put me in contact with this homeowner, and give them this kind of offer that I've, figured out what's going to work. You can't just be like, hey, I'm going to give away free lawn care services to everyone, because then you're going to make no money. But, figuring out what that marketing spend looks like, obviously you have to, I think, figuring out what your marketing spend is. And instead of doing that on the more traditional routes, figuring out, okay, we're going to spend that on the appreciable discount, or what we are giving away in our good and service, to then in turn have that lead capture. Now, I would imagine, again, from some industries, it's a little bit harder than others. I just named off a few for just the lawn care service. But, what is kind of the methodology that you would say is good for a, business owner to do, to figure out, hey, what are my tertiary industries that I can use to help funnel people into that pipeline?
Man, first of all, dude, you did a fabulous job of showing them all these, I like to say, periphery potential partners. And ladies and gentlemen, you know the 80-20 rule. 20% are going to create 80% of the results, and 80% are going to create 20% of your results. So that's why I said the first investment you need to make is in research, in finding out what is the ideal customer or client's total lifetime customer value. Once you have an idea of what that amount is, then you can get creative. Because all of those industries he just mentioned, instead of taking $1, what if you only need 30 cents to get the same result? Well, you can take 70% of that difference and put 10% over here, 5% over here, 20, and test. That's our word, Alex. When all else fails, we say test, and that's sort of a broad term. But the point is, you don't, like he's saying, you don't jump into the pool headlong until you know there's enough water to support you, right? So the point being, look at all the industries he named. Like, for instance, just to take one, he named, like, say, apartment owners. Wouldn't it be a good idea to start going to I'm saying, using his example again of the lawn care professional, of becoming a member of the local investment club groups. And then when somebody has a property they're flipping, come in and do the yard at cost to showcase your ability, and do it before and after, especially if you got a website. Hey, this is what it looks like before our services. This is what it looks like after. Don't you see the weight loss and the skincare cream and all, Cindy Crawford marketing these products, and they got these women and they show their face before and their face after. This is very powerful. You're not trying to make all the money off that one client. What you're trying to do is leverage that client's visibility so that they can bring you other, like, for instance, when these banks take properties back, you should try to become, not directly by going into the bank and asking, but leveraging through networking, somebody who knows these bankers and say, hey, I got a guy or a gal, they'll come in and keep these properties up for you at 25% off their normal rate. A, you could do it in your off time. B, you show them this helps keep the property values from sinking down really bad. And there's nothing worse, ladies and gentlemen, than a boarded up house in your neighborhood, or boarded up buildings in the downtown area. So think about it. There, and ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to share something with you. We call this the back end, by the way. That's all the additional sales, referrals, testimony, all that we consider back end. Think of it this way. Every time you bring in a client and it costs you $1, if you're going to gross net, meaning, before taxes, $8, wouldn't it make sense to invest $3 up front so you can net that 5? That's the way you start thinking about this stuff. Just like what he's saying. You got all of these businesses out there. They may not see that they're sitting on a potential gold mine, because you got to know what to do. In fact, Alex, let me just share this quick story with you, ladies and gentlemen. 2 guys are driving across the desert on the hottest day of the year. They got no air conditioning. The one guy rolls down the window. He looks out the window. He says, my God, look at all that cactus. Guess what the other guy saw? Las Vegas. How do you get 2 different outcomes? You look at the same thing. This is why it's very important that you develop what he just talked about, this peripheral vision. They don't see this as opportunity. In fact, when COVID hit, a lot of people went out of business, unfortunately. In my opinion, that set up the greatest opportunity to do what I call power networking that has almost ever existed in America. I don't know about around the world. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, let me share this with you too. This is a little sad, but it's the truth. And I want you to remember this. I'm sure, Alex, you know how you have to disclose all investments have potential risk. Ladies and gentlemen, I could share something with you. I call this the magic question. Alex, is it okay if I share the magic question with your audience?
I don't know what the magic question is, so we're in for the idea.
Now, I'm glad he disclosed that, ladies and gentlemen. He has no idea what I'm about to say. So this is, in other words, we didn't rehearse this before we came on. This is what I want the people to get. If you'll start asking this magic question, your business is about to erupt. I'm going to try it on Alex right now. We're going to say that I'm a financial planner in a completely different niche. So we're not directly competing, but to a certain extent we're competing. And I say, Alex, is it okay if I periodically refer you new business?
I'd be remiss if I said no.
Hello. And by the same token, as long as it doesn't take away from anything you're currently doing or will have going in the not so distant future, are you okay with periodically returning the favor?
Certainly.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard what he said. Let me tell you what you didn't hear that he also said. Mark, not only will you get access to my current contacts, experience, and network, but the ones I'm going to have tomorrow and next year that are 5 times better, you're going to get access to those too, and vice versa. Do you not see how this potentially opens the door? In fact, let's say Alex and I are sitting across right now in one of his favorite local gourmet coffee shops. I don't even know if he drinks coffee. Maybe we're drinking cocoa. We're just talking shop. And he says, Mark, you know what, man? I really like some of your ideas. I know our audience will get benefit from this. I'd love for you to come on my podcast and share these ideas. Do you see how we just went from 1 to 1 to 1 to many? That's called leverage, ladies and gentlemen. That's what investing is all about. When you learn these alternative investments and these insider secrets that he's telling you, you're getting leverage. And in fact, Alex, let me take one simple example. Let's suppose let's say you work for a mega corporation as a financial planner and you've gotten the itch. You're 7 years in now, you kind of know the insides and outs of the industry, and you're saying, I want to go out on my own. This whole corporate thing, I want to do more from home, and the wife is giving it to you, or if you're the wife, the husband is giving it to you. You need to be home more with the kid, and you say, you know what, I want to strike out on my own. I just got the itch. Maybe I don't make as much money as first, but I want to serve my clients in a certain way. Let me show you a powerful strategy you should and can be using. It's called information. You know what Alex is sharing with you, the secrets about how to invest. So you create a report. You ask all your potential customers, anybody you talk, what's the number one issue you have with investment? And they're going to give you a list. You either create Facebook Lives or you create PDFs, the 7 secrets you need to know before you invest a nickel in cryptocurrency. 5 reasons why the government will nail you if you don't do this. This is called free information. This is how you attract the people you're trying to attract. The point being, as you put this information out there and these people want to know more about it, you could go to your local adult education. Like, for instance, Bitcoin and all this stuff, I know nothing about, so I'm not here trying to, but I'm saying it's so mysterious that you could be teaching local free classes or, $10, $19, whatever, to cover your costs about 7 little known ways. Even your winning Bitcoin strategy could potentially cost you a fortune, exclamation point. Now, if I'm interested in Bitcoin and that's a free PDF or a free workshop, you better believe I'm going to want to know about it. Now, here's the other thing you could do. Let's say Alex is already teaching. He's into the marketing stuff, promoting. Let's say he's already teaching the class. In that case, I take the class and then I let him know, hey, man, I've noticed that when people are interested in Bitcoin, they're also interested in this. Why don't you add my free report, my website, where they can go to and download this free report as a bonus for taking your class, which now makes your class an X dollar value. Are you guys getting what I'm selling here? This is how you power network. This is how you grow exponentially for literally pennies on the dollar. Because, Alex, you know as well as I do, the average ad has to be seen between 7 and 21 times before you and I even have a slight idea what the heck are they talking about. In that amount of time, ladies and gentlemen, that fortune that you're going to blow, you're going to take a tenth of that and blown up your business in a positive sense when I say blow, because now you're going directly into the marketplace. Why waste money on a billboard or newspaper ad nobody's reading, or a television or radio local ad that nobody listened to because it's doing something else? You can get directly in front of them for pennies on the dollar.
That makes a ton of sense. So a few things that I've kind of jotted down here that I want to kind of extrapolate a bit on is, to go back a little bit. So with regard to, utilizing ad spend to, again, the appreciable discount on service to get it back out in the market, we've covered, finding what your, ancillary, your surrounding markets are to align yourself with those people to then in turn help drive business into what you do by offering a value add. It's, you're not giving this away for free. It's, a value add not only to the people utilizing it for whatever appreciable need that they have. They get a lawn cut, it increases, property values. Everyone's kind of happy in that regard. But again, you have to always kind of be aware, the cost of goods and services is that, a business model is not necessarily going to be sustainable if you're always running at a 25% off cost, or always running at cost. So, how do you kind of identify maybe a happy medium to where you say, okay, we have these leads coming in, we have the bucket that we're, kind of, again, the lost leaders of bringing in, that's our ad spend, bringing in those people in the front door. How do you kind of identify maybe an inflection point or where you kind of steer away or price accordingly to make sure that, you're going to make money in the end? Because again, if you're cutting every single lawn at cost, at the end of the day, you have, a grand total of zero in your bank account to buy groceries with or to pay your electric bill. So,
exactly.
It's a lot easier for people to say, hey, I'm spending all this money out here, I get someone in, but, the cost ratios are going to be the same. If you spend all of your money on advertising, get zero people in, you made zero money. But if you also sell everything at cost, yes, you have a bunch of money coming in, but you're only covering cost. So from that aspect, how do you kind of identify either an inflection point to when you reprice something, or do you kind of just bake that in? As you go to a store, it's like everything's 50% off. Where's kind of the model aspect that you kind of say, okay, here's where I kind of change that. Is it a growth metric, or is it just something where you say, okay, well, once people start coming in from the outside, then they're paying full price?
That is excellent questions, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're taking notes here. This guy is fabulous. Two things. Number one, that initial, what we call front-end customer acquisition, we've identified who a customer is. We get them in the door. Now, every sale thereafter, that's where we make the money. For example, let's say I'm a gourmet coffee shop, right? I create this Big Gulp soda. It's just a big plastic glass. It normally costs $11.99. Okay. What I'm going to do is all of what I call my, the question I just asked, the magic question, all of my joint venture cross-promotional partners, I tell them, listen, how many people work for you? How many employees? We got 22 employees, 17 full-time and the balance part-time. Okay, if all the gourmet coffee lovers, let them know this. They come into my shop with this card, or we'll send it through email, even better, a coupon. They come into the store, show us that hey, look, I got the coupon right here, extremely time-sensitive coupon. The first time they buy the Big Gulp, they pay retail, whatever it is. That pays for the glass, that pays for the gourmet coffee, gives a little bit for the lights, a little bit for the employee, a little bit for the insurance, et cetera, et cetera. We're not trying to make money on that. Now, every time they come back, as long as they bring that cup, they only pay $2.99 when they should pay $11.99. Now, let me ask you a question, Alex. If people are expecting a refund on their taxes of $2,000 and they get $6,500, Do you think they're going to take that difference and put it in the bank and save it, or are they going to put it back in the economy? What's your guess?
Well, two things. One, people should realize that if you're getting a tax refund, you just gave the government an interest-free loan, so don't do
Interest-free
that.
loan,
But
correct.
two, but two, they're probably going to go out and spend it.
Of course they are, right? I mean, only the one percenters are going to do what the one percenters do. So here's my point. When they come back to take advantage of the 299, do you think they're going to buy some extra donuts, bagels with cream cheese, pastries,
Hmm.
cookies? That stuff we're going to sell them at retail. And we may give them 5% off, because they're a VIP repeat customer. The point is, they also have birthdays, retirements, bar mitzvahs, and on and on and on and on and on. That's where we make our
Yeah.
money. So we're not trying to
So I
make the
think
money on the first sale.
and I think kind of the broader scope of that is also maybe as a business owner understanding that while yes you may be excellent at doing one thing, make sure you have additional services or goods that can be utilized. Again, to pick on lawn care, you cut the grass for that discount, but they say, oh, we also do pressure washing, we do, window cleaning, everything else that kind of goes into making a house look nice. And they say, oh yeah, let's pull the weeds in the flower bed. Oh, you do some landscaping as well. Okay, yeah, let's plant some stuff here, wash the windows. So what you're kind of saying is that making sure you have a broad enough product or service that you sell that can encompass bring those people in to have additional things that are sold at a full retail value. And
Or
again, use the
slightly under.
coffee.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's spot on. In
Okay.
fact, man, you're stealing so much of my thunder. I don't even know why this guy had me on. I mean, he teaches marketing stuff himself. But here's the point. He's making an excellent point. You can also leverage that first sale by saying, hey, since we're here, like he said, in fact, I would tell them that is your next upsell. When you say, oh, by the way, since we're here, we also do X, Y, and Z. Any of the two that you take right now, you get a 10% discount. Well, if your margin is 32% and you come down 5 or 6%, you're still up that difference. Plus, they're going to give you a referral. Plus, they're going to have you out to do something else. Plus, they're going to give you a testimonial. This is how you get exponential growth, ladies and gentlemen. It is no one thing, but here's what I would tell you. If you get good, I call it lead generation or customer acquisition, whatever floats your boat. If you get good at that front end promotion and marketing, you can eat it up on the back end and you can run rings around your competitors because they're saying ad costs are going up. How are they offering this huge discount on the front end? Because they don't realize that there's a whole back end to the business they haven't even touched. It's virtually untouched. There's so
Yeah,
much money.
absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, Alex, can I show your people something? I hope they can see this. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to show you something. I wrote
Yeah.
this book. This is a self-published book. You see that? It's called How to Profit Through Discounted Mortgages, the Joint Venture Program. Now I want to show you something. The hard cost today, right now, $15 to print that book. That shows, biz op people how to go out and find those discounted notes. There's a sheet in there. They fill out, they fax it in to the lender who knows that's my sheet. They give you a quote that includes closing costs. There's a spread. In other words, let's say there's a $3,000 spread. Don't try to get the all 3,000 because you're competing against other people. So let's suppose, and I always tell people to give a number, excuse me, Alex, that sounds like it's calculated. $2,417.91. That doesn't sound like an estimation. The point is, when they accept your offer, that spread, you and I split. So let's say Alex sells a lease option. No, I'm sorry, foreclosure. That's big now. Short sales and that kind of stuff. And I come to him, he gives these workshops, boot camps, $5,000. And I say, Alex, I'll turn this into a digital product. You let your people know that just for trying out your course for 90 days, if they're not satisfied, we call this risk reversal. You tell them, look, in 90 days, if you're not satisfied, you let us know. We'll refund you all of your money. But the $2,000 worth of bonuses, digital bonuses, they're yours to keep. Now, I create a new form so that when they send it in, I know that lead came from Alex. And I say, hey, man, whatever I get, you get half. Now, if I could do that with 5 different real estate entrepreneurs, do you see I can get to the point that I can allow somebody to sell this book, keep the front end, I'll pocket the back end.
No,
That's
absolutely.
what we're talking about.
Yeah, no, those are definitely great points. So the things I kind of want to close on are just again some of the kind of broader points because my producer is going to get in here with the old sheep hook and pull me off stage if we go
Right.
much past 45 minutes. But
Right.
I think a big thing that I really want to take like listeners to take away from this is there's definitely more than one way to frame out marketing and utilizing
Yes.
getting the traditional print stuff or just like the more traditional point of advertising stuff is extremely expensive and it's going to be pretty much cost prohibitive for anyone that's not, generating millions of dollars of revenue a year. You're
Right.
a bigger
Right.
business. So for the mom and pops, a single point of sales, the 3-man long crew out there,
Exactly.
utilizing the network of, different service providers, people that are, key to that and repositioning your ad spend from the more traditional avenues to that. And then also utilizing the value adds of, what you mentioned with things like, creating different content, webinars, podcasts that illustrate maybe an antithetical point to what you're kind of trying to get to illustrate the benefit of what you have. And that's going to change from, different things. Be like, maybe put out a webinar, if you're in lawn care saying, hey, here's how, not only can bad landscaping and overgrown yards, cause property values to go down, but if you don't have proper drainage, you can crack your foundation and do all these things to, again, use that, and I use fear in a very loose term to kind of help drive that interest in your business into whatever that is. It could be, any number of different things, but, utilizing, value, whether that's monetary to the people that are referring you business for the repositioning of that ad spend, whether that's, mental from the fact that people say, okay, now I, know I need and understand why I need to be utilizing this product or service to kind of have, a different way of thinking about, marketing ad spend. It's not just saying, hey, I'm going to put, a nice, attractive, print ad that's, well done, has all the right colors, the right positioning, everything's
Exactly.
perfect. Who's really consuming that? People have gone away
Right.
from consuming that to consuming, value add content, people interested in how this is also going to financially benefit them. So to kind of reposition to that thinking, again, painting with a broad brush of kind of what you're talking about. That's kind of the generalities of what I've taken away from what you're, promoting here
Absolutely.
today.
Very well said, my friend. In fact, one last final thing before they pull a hook on us, ladies and gentlemen. If you're a financial planner working with small business owners, you ought to get hooked up with a marketing consultant. Let them put together a special free report because when they get their business more valuable, who do you think they're going to recommend as the financial person that turned them on to the marketing person? You follow? This is how
Absolutely.
you grow your business, ladies and gentlemen, for pennies on the dollar.
Absolutely. Well, Mark, I really do appreciate you taking the time out of your day to be with us today. Time is the one asset that we get no more of, and we have a finite amount in our life, and we don't know how much that is. So,
That's
thank
true,
you very much for
unfortunately.
taking time out of your day today. If people want to get in touch with you to kind of learn more about how they can more streamline marketing and to kind of maybe get some insight into this, how can they reach you?
First of all, it's my pleasure, my friend. Thank you so much for having me. And I sincerely hope your audience got value because that's what we try to bring. Ladies and gentlemen, check me out. My house is UYOU, canmarketonlinenow.com. That's my blog. There's a ton of information there. There's a contact page. If you are a retail jewelry store, furniture store, appliance store, please reach out to me. I got some stuff that'll help you blow it out of the park. I promise you.
So, thank you very much. Again, my name is Alex Perny. As always, this has been the Alternative Investing Advantage podcast. Thank you so much for being with us today, and we'll see you on the next one.
Want to hear more episodes of the Alternative Investing Advantage? Search podcast at advantaira.com and subscribe.